The Tribal Health and Human Services Department of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes is proud to present Good Medicine, a program dedicated to the wellness of the Flathead Nation. The mission is summarized quite simply: a healthier people, a stronger nation. We will strive to make Good Medicine a reliable source of ideas and information about health issues so that everyone can make informed decisions about their own lifestyle and health care. You will meet health professionals, tribal government and spiritual leaders, and interesting people from the tribal community discussing important health issues that profoundly affect us all.
Hi, this is Good Medicine. I'm your host, Larry Pitts. Today I have Officer Rocky Bixby from St. Ignatius, and Rocky has graciously consented to coming on our program, and we're going to talk today about his recent delegation of authority. He is now the Community Watch Coordinator for the town of St. Ignatius, or the township. Rocky, before we get started, is there anybody out in TV land, like Paige or somebody who you'd like to say hello to?
Sure, I'd like to say hello to my fiancée Paige and all the people at St. Ignatius. I thank you for welcoming me into your community, and I hope I can do the best job that I can for all of you.
And that's a paid public service announcement from the St. Ignatius Police Department, right?
Correct.
Got it. Well, Rocky, you've been with us now for about 5 months in St. Ignatius. I see you at our workout facilities all the time. You seem to be in shape, you know, not seem to be, you are in shape. How long have you been a police officer?
I've been a police officer for going on 6 years now. I started out on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation working. I was lucky enough to get on there, and after 6 years I decided to move on and come up to this reservation and work, and it's been just a great experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you seem to be, I see you driving around, I see you talking with a lot of kids, I see kids come up and talk to you, which is real positive. You know, here on our reservation, probably many reservations, police officers get that stigma around them that, you know, they're the fuzz or the cops or right. Whatever, and you seem to be breaking that role model down. What's the purpose of that? Well,
I hope to do that. I see a lot of parents tell their kids, if you don't be good, I'm going to have the cops come arrest you, and that's not the what we want to portray out there. We want to portray that if a kid has a problem, that they can come up to us and tell us what the problem is. If they're having a problem at home, if they're having a problem at school, I'd like to try to resolve those problems and not have good guy, bad guy syndrome going on out there. Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like you're a real advocate as, what do they call you, police officers, peacekeepers?
That's correct. I like to think of us as community servants. Mm-hmm. We serve the community. They're the ones that pay for my wages, and I think they deserve to have the best job that I can do for them.
All right, that's great. Well, Rock, let's get back to, you know, the true purpose. We came here to talk about the Community Watch program. What is the Community Watch program?
The Community Watch program is a program that was set up in the larger cities to try to put a stop to the crime, to make a city that was safe, and to have a proactive law enforcement instead of reactive law enforcement. Try to put the neighbor back in neighborhood, basically. It's neighbors watching out for neighbors. It's a program set up to where blocks know who's supposed to be at the houses. They already know all this. They know who's supposed to be at the houses, when they work, when they come home, what cars are supposed to be there, who's not supposed to be there. And it just helps law enforcement out if these people are actually more attentive about what's going on in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And when something happens, they immediately call 911 and they notify all the neighborhood, the rest of the neighborhood, or at least their block. And that way a criminal knows, not only from seeing the signs mm-hmm. on the post, but that the whole neighborhood is involved, and they're not going to get away with crime in that neighborhood.
Well, you know, is crime that large in a town like St. Ignatius? I mean, do we, when you hear about Los Angeles, something like that, you think about crime. I mean, do we have to worry about it that much in a community St. Ignatius' size?
Crime is everywhere, unfortunately. People in a smaller neighborhood might not see the crime that a larger city does, but you still have your burglaries, you still have your vandalisms, you have all your problems that a big city does, but in just a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm. So how does this program cut down on crime? I mean, how do you chart it? How do you know it truly works?
Usually you can rate statistically on your crimes. At the time now, our crime rate is increasing, and our calls are steady. In the future, I'd like to see the calls increase and the crime decrease. That's hopefully what we're shooting for. And not only that, but trying to get the community to where they see in their community what's going on. They see the crime decrease, and they see their community pulling together as one. Mm-hmm. They see that they're safe to walk around the neighborhood at night. Their kids are safe after school. They don't have to worry about their kids walking home from school.
Mm-hmm. Is this program sort of like a busybody program, though? I mean, you see on TV about these little busybodies on a block, and they know everything that's going on, and they're always calling it, and is that what happens in this program? Or?
Basically, it's people not calling on barking dogs or whatever else, but it's actually calling on things that can make a difference and help people. And I mean, we do other things besides crime prevention. We help the elderly as a community. If an elderly's lawn needs to be mowed, it's that community's responsibility to make sure that that elder gets taken care of, mm-hmm. because someday we're going to be elders, and I'd like to know, that as I get older, that the community's going to look after me.
Mm-hmm. Well, people like Roy Beacrane, I understand, probably really need this because they're getting real close to becoming elders. So
sure,
you bet. I mean, the closer you get to that, this probably makes more reason for that. So you're becoming a network, right?
That's correct. Community Watch has been started, has been going in different cities, in different towns, and it's been very successful. And I'm just happy that they've asked me to do it.
Who had this idea for St. Ignatius? I mean, you said they asked me to do this. Who came to you? I mean,
well, basically, it's the community, the people of St. Ignatius. My chief has passed it on to me, delegated mm-hmm. me to do it. And I took it on as just a part of my responsibility to the community. Mm-hmm.
So this isn't drudgery that's making you do it?
No, not at all. I am very happy to help people, and this is my job. My job is to help people. Mm-hmm.
How does the community, how do they activate this? I mean, you can talk about theory, idea, but how do they actually get this thing to become part of the process of St. Ignatius?
Well, the first part is our community meeting, which is tonight at 7:00 p.m. at the St. Ignatius High School gym.
Now tonight is Wednesday night, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And at that meeting, we'll discuss how to set up the Community Watch. And basically, it's putting your names down as wanting to be part of Community Watch, wanting to have or having concerns about what's going on in your community, and wanting to change it. Mm-hmm. Once you put your name down, then we set you up as a block. You have a block captain who is in charge of that block, and all the calls go through him, and he immediately turns around and notifies everybody else on any crime or any suspicious activity that goes on in the community. And then you also have people that would like to actually help with crime prevention as far as patrolling, mm-hmm. Foot patrol or whatever. And it's just a step-by-step process where hopefully I'd like to get the whole town of St. Ignatius, the mission, everybody mm-hmm. involved, and have every block have a community watch on it. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy as just getting the signs and putting them up. You got to be an active member in a community watch, otherwise it doesn't do anything.
Well, it's truly a program that the talk is nothing until the walk is there, right?
That's exactly right. You can say that you're part of a community watch, but unless you're an active member in a community watch, then you're really not.
Do you see this as a way of making the whole community a healthier community?
I think so. When you get people pulling together, it's just like in church. If you get people into church and you get them praising God, you lift spirits, and I want to do the same thing with a community. I want the community to pull together, have community barbecues, have block parties, and not as far as alcohol and drugs, but having barbecues, and hopefully getting the community to support each other and to help our elderly and help our kids, having safe houses for kids to go to after school if they get locked out of their houses. Mowing elderly's lawns, painting their houses. People say that they never have no time, but if you have time to go out and do whatever you do in the afternoon, then you have time to give a little to your community, the community that gives a little to you.
All right.
And
you're becoming a true village. You become all a network of one. You're all pointing towards one goal, and that's to lift each other up. What else can the community do besides crime prevention? I mean, you talked about mowing lawns, painting. I mean, what things, if you were to sit here today and say, okay, here is my ideal community, what would that be?
The ideal community is a community that is knowledgeable, not only in crime prevention, but in first aid, in elder abuse, in anything else that you can think of, any training that we can provide to a community. Most of the training will hopefully be free. That will be donated by people. I'm sure the Highway Patrol, other police departments, ambulance service, hospitals. There's a lot of people that would like to come in and make a community more knowledgeable. How to respond to a 911 call, or how to make a 911 call. The proper method of making a 911 call, and
when to use it.
Right, exactly, and when not to use it. Prank 911 calls take up a lot of the 911 dispatcher's time, and it might be your family member that needs that 911 line, and it's being tied up by somebody else that doesn't need it.
You know, as we were driving down, we drove together coming down here, and I was talking about it, the community center that I work at.
Right.
But then we're talking about maybe doing a community center that has recreation as far as, pool, and do you see that as a possibility in the future?
Absolutely. We need something for our kids. Our kids are out all night long, and if you don't give them something to do, they're going to go find something to do. And you can either provide something for them to do, or they're going to get into trouble out there. I see kids roaming around at night, and it would be nice to have some late night activities for them to do, late night basketball or late night volleyball or late night whatever, hand games, anything to keep them out of trouble. An idle mind is one that can get into trouble.
Right. I see you making young people accountable. I know this. At the end of the school year, I had a young man that came in for a treatment that had missed the treatment the day before, and you had stopped him and gave him a ticket that said that the ticket would be torn up once I got hold of you. Are kids responding to that?
Well, our job is to change attitudes, and one way of doing that is issuing citations. I don't like issuing citations, but if that's what it takes to change people's attitudes, to get them on the right track, then that's what I have to do. I'd much rather just ask somebody to do it the first time and not have to issue a citation, and it makes things go a lot easier, and they're not angry at the police officers for giving them a citation and costing them money.
Do you mean that at the beginning of every day your boss doesn't come up and say, you've got to issue 22 citations today and get this much money to keep the city running?
No, we're not on any type of quota program. We don't have to issue citations to keep the city in money, but our part of our job is making sure that the community is obeying the laws that are set forth. If the community doesn't like the laws, then it's their job to change them, and it's not my job to change them.
You just have to enforce them.
That's correct.
All right. With this community watch program, When is the meeting?
Okay, the meeting's going to be held at 7 o'clock p.m. tonight
Which is July 2nd.
Right, July 2nd at the St. Ignatius High School gym. We're going to have, or hopefully going to have some refreshments and some donuts for people to eat. And it's going to be about an hour long. I'll try not to keep people there too long because I know they got other things to do.
Donuts are free?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll give a lot of information within that hour. If people are interested, I would really like to see a good turnout there. I'd like to have all of St. Ignatius there. And we'll just have to see how it goes.
Okay, so tonight is an organizational meeting. Are there going to be boards coming out of the meeting tonight, or can people nominate their neighbor for some position? I mean, this is some of the things that keep some people away from it.
Right. We're going to have to be setting up a steering committee, which is the people in the community that have the most knowledge on how to get money for the program, how to get supplies for the program, and how to direct the people on where to go to get these things. These are usually your business owners, people such as yourself that have experience with purchasing items or running businesses. After the steering committee is set up, then we'll go ahead and set up each block with a block captain and co-captains if they wish. And after that, the block captains are responsible. All I do is set up the community watch, and I turn it over to the block captains, and I monitor the community watch and try to keep it going or give them any assistance that I can as far as law is concerned.
What about blocks that no one wants to participate? Can a community have only certain blocks that work? Are we doing the program and others that aren't? Does that work?
Well, that is going to be the case. If not everybody does get involved, you will have blocks that are trying to fight crime and are set up for a community watch program. And you're going to have others that would not want to participate. But hopefully, by looking around at the blocks that do have community watch and seeing that crime is decreasing, or that they don't have crime on those blocks, they'll turn around and want to set up a community watch on their block also. And I want to see this spread as far as it'll go.
Do you see this spreading countywide?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there ain't no place in Montana that shouldn't have a community watch. And I would be happy to work with anybody else that wants to set up a community watch out in the county. I don't have a jurisdiction out there, but I am a community watch organizer. And I would be happy to get it set up any place that anybody else wants to do it.
Now, see, I've not heard of any other city in Lake County is doing it. Are there?
Yes, there is. I believe that Polson is doing it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Ronan is doing it. So, like I said, I just got here, so I'm just trying to get familiar with the other areas. But I did hear that Polson was doing it.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of it. That's why I'm curious, and I see the validity of a program like this. Since you've been an officer for 6 years, Rocky, and we know that you were in Lame Deer area, and how do you see our kids? Have we gone too far that there's no hope for our children? The kids you see running around in St. Ignatius, I hear this all the time saying, where is the world going to, this kind of stuff. What do you say about that?
I say there's always hope, but it does have to start with the kids. You can't try to change a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old even. You have to start when they're very young. The parents have to get involved with these children, and everybody has to take responsibility for our children. I have 3 kids, and it is my responsibility to raise those kids. It's not anybody else's responsibility. As far as law enforcement, it's not my responsibility to go find kids or to try to discipline kids. It's my responsibility to make sure that they obey the laws. But it's the parents' responsibility to make sure that these kids are obeying the laws and are going to school and aren't staying out after curfew. And it all starts with the family organization. We need to keep our kids on track, and I don't believe that the world is getting worse and worse. We're getting more of a population, and that's affecting the crime that's going on. But kids will be kids. I mean, as you know, once we were young and we did these same things that these kids are doing now.
Oh, it was just yesterday for me.
Yeah, me too. I think that kids have hope, and that's why I will never give up on kids.
And that's awesome to have an officer doing that. How do you see us doing that? Even, you know, we got community watches for those areas. How do you see a mission that we're going to attack the problem of crime with our young people?
Well, I think you need to get people informed on crime, what is a crime, and get people involved and say, no, we're not going to put up with this in our community. If everybody pulls together and becomes one, like you said, becomes one, and does not let this crime go on, basically puts a barrier around their town, then I think that either crime will go elsewhere, or they'll learn that you just can't do this. That it's not accepted in a community.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are the kids starting to respond to you in St. Ignatius? I mean, like I said, you've been there for 5 months. I've seen you work out almost daily. I've seen you get buffed up a lot better. When you first walked in here, you looked like you're some sad boy from another reservation, and now you're looking pretty good.
Right.
Do you see yourself and other people helping direct some people that way towards the fitness centers, or?
I do. I try to get as many people in there as I can, and it's good that they see me in there working out and trying to better myself. And just to let you know, I don't like donuts like most police officers. I don't believe in an overweight police officer. You're not putting out a good image for the kids. And I think I've got the kids' respect so far. I treat everybody fairly and equally, and I don't try to force morals or values on anybody. It's their choice. My job is just to enforce the law, but I try to do it fairly and equally. And first time is usually a warning. The second time, if I got to tell you, then it's a citation.
Well, I know that the good old days are coming up pretty soon, and you haven't been there for good old day. I mean, for them yet. Have you heard about them?
I've heard a lot about it, and when I say you guys have a quiet community here, they say wait until good old days. So we'll just have to see how that goes.
So you're pumping up, you're getting ready for that day.
Absolutely.
Doing 20 more extra push-ups a day, and
you betcha.
You're set for that. So what else do you see yourself doing in the future for Ronan? I mean, for St. Ignatius, not Ronan, I'm sorry about that. For St. Ignatius, as far as in a positive role.
Well, whatever the community wants of me, I'm there to serve the community. If they can think of anything else that I can be doing for the community, I would be more than happy to help them out. I'd like to volunteer at the community center on my days off, and try to get involved more with the community and with the kids and with the senior citizens. I like helping people, and I don't think it'll stop with just a community watch program.
Have you guys ever thought about going into the schools and talking about, about what police officers, peace officers do to the kids so that they don't have this TV image of you guys?
Well, I think it does start with the family telling their children not to be afraid of cops, police officers, and that police officers are there to help them. And us as police officers have to let kids know that they can come up and talk to us. And we have to get out of our cars once in a while and go up and talk with kids and rap with kids, I mean...
They don't have to run when they see you coming, right?
Right. They don't have to be afraid of us. And you have to try to talk their language. I mean, you have to keep kids interested. The attention span on a child is probably 30 minutes, and after that you lose them. So you need to be able to talk with kids in a positive way and not a negative way. I mean, you can't sit there and degrade a child.
Right.
You have to keep them positive and keep them, let them know that they are a good person and to stay on track.
Well, a lot of negative, even towards police officers, is a learned behavior.
That's correct.
And so as we develop the learning curve towards a positive, our children are going to respond in a better way. You're talking about volunteering, in the fitness center. What would you project yourself doing in a scenario like that?
As far as what again?
Volunteering like in the fitness center. what could you see you as a police officer doing there in the positive?
Well, I'd like to set up a community walk at least and get the whole community involved with walking around town, getting to know each other, and hopefully running around town. I'd like to see us working up to running around town. I think TV, don't get me wrong, but TV has really hurt our kids. They sit on their butts all day and they don't get any exercise. And I think we need to get back out there and get some exercise, no matter what we're doing, whether we're walking, playing basketball, or whatever. I'm up for anything. So.
Except we do want them to watch this program, which is on Wednesday nights at 6 and Thursdays at noon, right?
Absolutely. This is an informational channel, and I think it's great that they have channels like this.
Without Frank Tyro, we should be blowing our TVs up then, right? Is that what you're telling us?
Sure.
Hear that, Frank? He's back behind the screen, people. So when Frank hears this, he won't hit the pause button or the mute button. So Rocky, you know, I want to thank you for coming on today, and you know, it's been informational. I think that you've been a tremendous asset to us, and I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future. I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch you. Your name is now going to be, your face is going to be recognized across the reservation as they see you on PBS. Is there anything you want to say as a final thing to the community out there of what you see law enforcement doing on the reservation for the future?
I'd just like to say to the people out there that if you have anything that you would like to see changed in your community, if you'd like to see anything different that you'd like to have me doing out there, or if you'd just like to come up and talk with me, please do. I would like to see more community involvement.
Okay. Well, Rocky, I got one last question for you, and you know, it's like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. You've been a great guest. You know, police officers always look so nice. You know, they try to look nice. Like their shoes are shined. They wear their uniforms. Their hair is combed. Do you wash behind your ears?
Always.
Always wash behind your ears.
Right.
So you truly are perfect, huh?
Well, I'm not perfect. There's only one perfect person.
Okay.
But you look like you take care of yourself and work out also, so I hope we can get more people involved.
That's why I'm so buff. What is your body fat?
It's right around 2%.
Wow. That's in shape. That's in shape. That's great. Well, people, I want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation as we just chatted with Rocky about Community Watch and some other things in St. Ignatius. We'll be on next week, so we'll see you then. Thank you much. See you tomorrow.
Good Medicine is your program. We hope you watch this and subsequent programs to stay informed about your health care. And we'd like to hear from you about how we're doing. Please direct any comments or suggestions you have to us. You can reach us at